This is Embrace Your Inner Boldness, a podcast about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. I'm Melissa Henning Frank, coach, guide, and founder of Becoming Bold. I help you strip away the conditioning, reclaim your voice, and rise into the power that's always been yours. Let's get right to it. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Do you ever feel like you don't quite fit neatly on one side or the other, and you're just standing in the middle wondering what is going on in this world? And then you go to work and realize it's showing up there too, in the energy of your team and the way people hold back, in how hard it feels to connect sometimes. You see what people have posted or liked or commented on Facebook or other socials, and you're either feeling more connected to them or shocked by them because you thought they were someone else. Right now, as I'm recording this, there's a thunderstorm outside, and I'm here for it. I'm digging the energy and the power behind it, and it seems beautifully fitting for this topic. I've always had this curious, questioning, status quo challenging mind, but for much of my life, it wasn't safe to express it. Not as a child, not in parochial school, not in the army, not in the corporate world. I learned that I had to filter my words and really water them down because most people don't like it when you try to move their cheese, but damn, I really wanted to move some cheese. So what's empowering now is realizing that curiosity isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's becoming a survival skill, and if we don't embrace it, we risk perishing as a culture. So I wonder how many of you feel this too, the pull to ask bold, curious questions, mixed with the fear of expressing a different point of view when it doesn't fit neatly into the this or that or us against them boxes that we've all kind of been handed. So if that's you, this episode is for you because you're not alone in this. In fact, what you're feeling is part of something bigger. What's happening out there in the headlines and online doesn't stay outside the office doors. It seeps into meetings, conversations, even the way people show up for each other at work. And leaders especially need to know how to meet that moment. We are living in a time when division is a strategy. We've got headlines, algorithms, loud voices, and they all benefit when we're pulled apart. But most of us are not fully on one side or the other. We actually see pieces of truth in both. And that doesn't make us broken. It makes us human. And at work, this sounds like tension you can feel, but nobody calls it out. It looks like cliques forming, meetings where people hold back while pursing their lips and shaking their heads. Our employees self-censoring because they're afraid of being labeled. Leaders, this is where you matter most. You can't control the headlines, but you can set the tone for how your team navigates them. Let's talk about who this mindset that I'm going to describe is for and who it's not for. Because this message isn't for everyone, and that's really intentional. It's not for people who thrive on outrage, who see humans as enemies before they see them as people, who only want echo chambers instead of conversations, who are unwilling to pause and to grow. It's not for you if you're clinging so fiercely to your conditioning and programming and have zero desire to consider that anything else might be true. It is for people who want to live and lead differently. So this is for those who are tired of being forced into boxes, for those who value connection over conflict, who want to build stronger teams and stronger communities, and who believe that humanity is bigger than hashtags. It's for you if you're strong in your convictions and curious enough to ask questions and change your mind when you learn something new. So if that's you, welcome. You've found your people. You're not the only one scratching your head and thinking, what's going on with this world and where are my people? Your people are out here. They're in your community and they're also in your workplace. And here's the opportunity in all of this. If leaders normalize the quiet middle, that place where we can hold more than one truth at a time, then work becomes a refuge instead of another battleground. That's culture-shaping leadership. That's positive influence that outlasts the trending headlines. So let's talk about 3 tangible things you can do right now, and we'll go into detail a little bit later with some more. First, build your pause muscle. So before you repost, react, or rage, stop. Ask yourself, am I reacting to truth or am I reacting to a trigger? At work, leaders can model this by pausing intense conversations instead of snapping back. Even saying, "Let's take a breath before we respond," gives your team permission to reset. Your people require this guidance. They're craving it even because they're confused right now as to how to navigate this world. Something else you can do is lead with curiosity. So here's a mantra for you. Humans first, opinions second. And at work, when disagreements happen in a meeting, because they will, instead of letting it spiral, a leader can ask, "Can you tell us what's underneath your perspective?" That small shift moves people from their strict positions to caring humanity. And that's where real collaboration can start. And yes, you do have time for this, because if you don't make time for it, it's going to come out in emotion-driven conflict and disagreements much bigger than if you create space for curiosity right now and every day. And lastly, anchor yourself in connection. So connection is the rebellion. And at work, leaders can create intentional space for human connection. So start meetings with a check-in question, encourage peer recognition, or simply ask, "How are you really?" It might feel small, but those moments build trust and resilience when the external noise gets too loud. So if you're listening to this episode because it has piqued your curiosity, but you're not yet bought in, not sure if you fit in here, consider the following questions intended to help you sort through the doubts. Ask yourself, when I scroll my feed, do I feel more connected to people or more divided from them? Which issues light me up in a way that's about justice? And which ones just push me into outrage? At work, do I notice people shutting down conversations out of fear? Do I find myself agreeing with pieces of both sides, but feeling like there's no room for that middle ground? As a leader, am I creating space where my team can disagree respectfully, or am I avoiding the hard conversations? And maybe the biggest one, am I willing to see the human before I see the headline in my community and in my workplace? I want to give you a longer-term strategy for how to stay equipped at home and in your community. Change doesn't happen overnight, so think of it as a marathon, not a sprint, and a marathon that you need to keep yourself in shape for. It takes a lot of effort over the long run, but it feels so good when it's done, or in this case, when it's the culture. So one thing you can do is set the tone in your household. When a heated headline comes up at the dinner table, lead with curiosity, not combat. And I know that can't be easy. Try saying, "Tell me what you're feeling about this," instead of "You're wrong." And maybe try creating a family mantra like, "We can disagree without disrespect." Next, model healthy conversations for kids. Your kids are watching how you handle differences. So show them how to ask questions, how to listen, and how to stay calm even when it's difficult. When a kid brings up something from school or social media, resist correcting right away. Instead, ask them, "What do you think about that?" You've got to encourage curiosity. Next, stay rooted in local connection. So when national headlines are screaming division, double down on your neighborhood. Have coffee with a neighbor, support a local business, join a community event. Proximity really does break down assumptions. And commit to one real-life conversation with someone outside of your usual circle every week. Next, I want you to notice the energy you bring into spaces, including social media, which tends to blow up like a bomb when scroll-stopping headlines come through. So ask, am I adding fear or am I adding peace? I'm going to say that again. Am I adding fear or am I adding peace? Am I showing up as a bridge or as a wall? So if you feel yourself getting heated, take a breath before you post, before you comment, before you reply. Sometimes silence or a pause is more powerful than feeding the fire. Take a break, get off the app. When emotions are high, strategy is low. So remember, your intention is to bridge the divide. You can also try to reclaim rituals of connection. So shared meals, game nights, walks, faith gatherings, volunteer projects. These are the antidotes to isolation. They remind us that community is stronger than chaos. So what you can do is schedule one connection ritual this week and make it non-negotiable. make a conscious effort to find groups that are more about curiosity than they are about stirring up arguments or inciting division. Some people get a charge from the idea of us versus them. So, as Mel Robbins says, let them. And then you focus on making things better. I sense that you're feeling the urgency behind this situation like I am. And if we don't figure this out, the division is going to continue to creep into our homes, communities, and workplaces. So at home, if this continues, it looks like families who can't sit around the same table without walking on eggshells. It's parents and kids shutting each other out because they see the world differently. It's resentment simmering under the surface instead of real conversation. And in our communities, it shows up as neighbors who stop talking, churches that split, school boards that become battle zones, and people who pull away instead of pulling together. And when enough of that happens, it shapes the culture that we're all living in. A culture that normalizes suspicion, quick judgment, and constant outrage. We don't want that. If we don't equip ourselves now, we'll see even more broken relationships, more isolation, more stress at work and at home, and fewer safe spaces to simply be human together. I don't think anybody wants that. And we have more control than we give ourselves credit for. Culture isn't some far-off thing that we have no control over. Culture is us. And when we choose connection, when we refuse to be played, we start rewriting it. If we don't start equipping ourselves now, we're going to see even more fractured teams, more leaders afraid to lead, more employees walking on eggshells, and more relationships breaking under the pressure. We'll keep burning energy on arguments instead of solutions, and the people who profit from our division will keep winning. But it doesn't have to go this way. We have a choice, we have the numbers, and we have the power to do this differently. The divide only wins if we play the game. And I don't know about you, but I refuse to play. I won't let headlines or hashtags decide how I treat people or how I lead. And leaders, your people are watching you. You can be the catalyst for connection, for teamwork, for reminding everyone that we don't have to agree on everything to work powerfully together. So let's be the ones who break the script, who stay steady, who choose boldness over division every single time. Pause, get curious, get connected. Start normalizing the fact that there's so much more to it than them versus us, and there's millions of us in the middle who are looking for others with similar questions, similar curiosities, and bold desires to do better. And when the noise gets loud, because you know it will, remember, connection is my rebellion. Sign up for my weekly email to stay connected and take advantage of a full library of personal and professional development resources I've created just for you. The link to sign up is in the show notes or in the profile sections of all my socials. I'm sending you so much hope, empowerment, and strength now and always. So until next time, please be kind to your mind. That's it for today's episode of Embrace Your Inner Boldness. If this stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Screenshot this episode, tag me at Becoming Bold LLC, and share it with someone else who's ready to rise. And hey, if you haven't already, take a second to subscribe, rate, and review the show. That's how we spread the boldness and keep this movement growing. Whatever came up for you today, feel the fear and do it anyway. You don't need to wait for perfect timing or permission. You are powerful. You are ready. And remember, the only limit to your boldness is the one you set for yourself. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep becoming you.